So, social responsibility of a business involves the consideration of general public interest by businessmen. So, while taking business decisions and actions. So, like social responsibility refers to the obligation of businessman to pursue those policies, to make those decisions, or to follow those lines of action which are desirable in terms of the objective and values of our society. This entails that businessmen should perform their operation with due consideration to the aspiration of society. They should fulfill the demand of those who have a claim on the operation of business. They must measure the consequences of their decisions and courses of action on the society, and ascertain that no undue harm is done to the interest of the society. The concept of social responsibility has emerged due to several economic, social, political, and legal influences. These forces, which have obliged, persuaded, and helped businessmen to become aware of their responsibility to society, are as follows. So, like public opinion, so public interference with the help of the government has instilled a fear in the heart of businessmen. The threat of public regulation and public ownership has, compelled them to acknowledge the fact that responsible behavior is essential on their part for survival in the private sector. So, trade union movement, the recent development of socialism that boosted that the strength of labor union has, forced businessmen to give a fair share to workers. Human relation and labor legislation have facilitated trade union to increase their influences. So, consumer organizations have encouraged awareness about consumer rights. So, consequently, businesses have become more responsive to consumer needs and stress the dictum of a consumer is the king. So, businessmen can no longer adopt the approach of let the buyer beware. So, self-instruction, if I'm talking about, so like education, so extensive education has, made businessmen conscious about the quality of life, moral values, and social standards. So, liberal businesses leaders have been pressing the business community to acknowledge its like social obligations. So, public relations, some modern business men are aware that a good public image contributes to their growth. So there is a great alertness in their heart that businessman is a construction of society, and hence it should consider and react positively to the expectation of society. Separation of ownership from control in a large corporation has resulted in professionalism in management. A professional management is fairly aware of the society's expectation and attempts to meet the demand of all social components like customer, employees, shareholders, and the government in a well-adjusted manner. So, case of social responsibility has been subject to controversy since long. There have been arguments both in favor and against it. So, support the assumption of social responsibility by business enterprise. So, a long-term self-interest of business, as started earlier, a good public image is bound to give better returns to a business enterprise. So, businessmen can benefit in the long run by providing for the welfare of the society through education and better living conditions. This will result in better employees in businesses and enlightened customer in society who will benefit it through their increased purchasing power. Ascertainment of law and order to social responsibility on the part of businesses can avoid unrest in society. So it is bound to create disorder by adopting anti-social and illegal activities and rebellions. So pursuing the doctrine of social responsibility can help a business organization prevent social chaos. So maintain of free enterprise, government of public regulation can hinder the development of business by decreasing the flexibility of decision making and the freedom of choice and action. So therefore the voluntary assumption of social responsibility is essential for the growth of a business organization. So business is a part of society and survive on the demand of the society. So therefore it should be responsive to social expectation and welfare. The right of the business to grow goes hand in hand with its awareness of social responsibility and welfare. It is the duty of the business enterprise to contribute in some way to the well-being of its society. So enlightened businessmen have now become more aware about their moral duty to serve the society. So business has the resources and the power to solve social problem. Therefore its power should be balanced with social responsibility. So profitable environment is also necessary is there. So which business needs to meet the challenge of social evils. So active interference on the part of businessmen in solving is necessary now. So these challenges can convert them to opportunity, which in turn will ascertain not just the existence but also the benefit of the organization. So business system and social dependence are interrelated and thus affect each other. So argument against social responsibility on the part of business enterprises like dilution of profit maximization. So economic value is the main criterion by which the success of a business should be estimated. So according to some wise person is there. So like this is a fundamentally subvert side of the doctrine. So management spending for society is a hypocrisy. So only people can have a responsibility, not corporations. So the motivation to utilize resources effectively is a decrease, and when social responsibility is considered important, it is the profit motive principally that encourage optimum use of resources and manpower to run the business with enthusiasm. So besides the effort motive, profit serves as a standard to measure the performance of business. So business organization goes of course as it loses the guiding measure that depicts the efficiency of its performance and thus hinders decision making. So like emotional insight and experience essential to tackle social problems are lacking in the temperament of businessmen. So they cannot determine what is the public interest. So the solution to solve to social problems should be expected from a specialized social agency and not for businessmen. So business organizations are involved in a social institution. They are likely to dominate the decision of these institutions for their own interests. So they can use their financial power to take decision concerning the functioning of these institutions. This may further lead to increased social detachment. So like the principle of social responsibility is based on the assumption that market mechanisms are not the appropriate way to allocate scarce resources to alternative uses, and so it should be replaced by political mechanism. If the market price of a product contains the cost of social action, it doesn't actually represent the relative cost of producing, and thus the market mechanism gets distorted. So corporate governance is defined as an act of controlling, directing and evaluating the activities of any organization. The structure of corporate governance specifies that the other taking part in the organization, such as the board managers, board of directors, shareholders and other stakeholders, must be provided with some right and responsibilities. So providing power to the participant of the organization result in the monitoring of performance of the employee in an ethical decision. So like corporate governance has the organization achieve the goals and objective of an organization in a desired manner. So corporate governance has achieved a great deal of success in attracting public interest, because corporate governance gives importance to the economic health, the corporation and the society as a whole. So however, corporate governance cover a wide variety of the distinct economic phenomenon. So therefore many people have given different definition of corporate governance. All they are perfectly right. So we must follow the path of CSR and try to understand the important part of CSR and ethic value also. Thanks for watching.